其实很多人不知道，其实在那个年代的中国，就是我上大学的时候是80年代初，其实那时候中国人对于建筑和建筑师是完全没有概念的，基本上没有人听说过建筑这个词，没有人听说过建筑师这个词，那只是在一个很小的专业圈子里的，没有人知道的。所以当我考大学的时候，其实我也不知道，我想变成一个艺术家，我想当作家，这是我们家里都不同意。在那个年代，中国还是生活比较困难，大家都是希望自己的小孩能变成工程师，工程师会有一个稳定的饭碗和收入，所以我们家里希望我当工程师，我就坚决拒绝，但后来就僵持不下。我后来提了一个条件，就说如果你能够找到一个工程师，同时又是学比如说画画的，我可以读。然后他们就去找，有一天回来告诉我他们找到了一个，据说叫建筑学，是工程师，完了还是画画的，所以我就学了建筑。
I've been asked this question many times, and I still have no idea because I went out of school at 17. What can you possibly know about what you want in life at 17? I had no idea. So it came out of the most. You don't pay attention in the sense that I went to a person at school. They were saying, look at your grades and said, okay, mathematics, physics. Fine, drawing, okay, so maybe architecture. That kind of I had no clue. Actually, in Chile, when you make the national exam to be able to apply to universities, you're required to provide the list of careers with your points. Then you apply. So I wrote architecture in the Catholic University. Number 2. Dance. Number 3, flute. I didn't dance. I didn't play the flute. I had no other alternative. So I didn't go into architecture. I had no plan B, but I didn't know what it was. Nobody in my family was an architect. I think I saw from somebody plans, and I thought, wow, this is cool. Do blueprints. It looks nice. It was as shallow and stupid as that.
60 years of my practice. When I began my career, after I came back from Corbusier, the task was to find with minimum, with no technique, no technologies, scarcity of materials, economic paucity, everything was happening. And in that you have to begin architecture or just something to build for people to live and act. So it's not only talking about housing only, it's also talking about towns, cities, villages. You're talking about creating institutions. You're talking about creating some kind of understanding in people about what is the nature of what we had, what we are happy about, proud about, and what are we going to give back in return. So it's like a revolution. It's a revolution which begins with nothing, and now we are facing the challenges of the new world, the technological world. And I think this is where the whole juxtapositions have happened. And I think this is where I was trying to play my role as an architect.
What is architecture for me? What is architecture for somebody that is coming from a place where infrastructure is not existing, but it's needed? What is architecture for somebody like this? It's more than building buildings. It's just more than creating a piece of work that can be seen as art. It's more than that. It is something that happening, that is a process on how, together with people, you think about the project at the end to come out with something that people really feel it is our own. We are part of it. It is something that we have a strong identification with it. We see ourselves in that. So that is how I see architecture.
It's very difficult to define exactly how we are, what we are, how we are doing architecture, but we got very early the idea that doing architecture was a way of providing space for uses. So it means that the uses is everything, everywhere. It can be small, it can be a little thing. And we got an interesting experience after the School of Architecture in Africa, where at the beginning we didn't have the feeling that we were in presence of architecture just after making the school. But every day it was interesting to see that people themselves was doing architecture because they were creating space with sometimes nothing, no materials. And that was very interesting for us to learn from this. It was something intuitive, but we learned a lot from this, and this became some principles afterwards in our practice that I can summarize in a few words, like generosity of space, care to the uses, care to the climate, and how we can use all the resources of the climate in order to create a natural quality of environment, of space. The economy, because economy is extremely important nowadays to make this architecture affordable in any case. So all these principles are with us since many years, and of course every year, every project allows to improve it.
でそこでいろいろ分かったのは、住宅は一つの村の中にあります。一つだけポツンとある住宅は世界中どこにもない。必ず村があって住宅がある。村が大きくても小さくても必ず村に属して住宅があるというのは改めてよく分かったんですよね。みんなこうファミリーのメンバーではありますけども、どんなファミリーも必ずコミュニティの中に属しています。ですからそのコミュニティに守られて家族があるんですけども、特に20世紀以降の世界はそのコミュニティがなかなか見えなくなってきた。でそれが20世紀のその近代化された都市ではヨーロッパやアメリカだけではなくアジアの中心都市はほとんどそういうようなコンドミニアムやアパートメントハウスに住んで、その一緒には住んでいるけども隣の人とは何の関係もないというような住み方に住むようになっていったわけですね。ですからその私の興味はまずそこが原点です今。
But I suppose what's also important is to think about change as being positive, that it wasn't exactly a utopia to start with, where we are now. I mean, before the urgency of climate change was really put on the agenda, you know, the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, people can't access housing, the thing of democracies being challenged, there are all kinds of things that are happening in the world. But somehow day to day as architects, we're probably, some people would say naive, but we're great believers in human invention. We're great believers in the capacity of architecture to change things. The invention of architects, you know, we teach, and there are We see young people doing research on how to make buildings in different ways, how to think in different ways about landscape, about the resources, about water, about solar energy. I mean, there are all kinds of amazing things happening. And in a way, you can't be an architect without being optimistic.
Do you think technology in the end is an ally or a threat to our society?
Technology can never be a threat. I mean, technology is a means. So the history of architecture, the history of humanity coming out of the cave into a dwelling is a story of technology, of innovation. The high-tech buildings of the past, the cathedrals, they're miracles of technology. Well, of course, any technology you can turn from violent, aggressive, you can turn into something which is violent and aggressive. But that's probably true of anything. You can use medicine to cure, you can use medicine to poison. You can, as Bucky put it, you can convert the killing machine into the living machine. And that was some of the endeavors after the war, to harness. But that's also true of space travel and space exploration. So it's how you use the technology. But you can't move forward, you can't answer the needs. We can't be protected in here when it's raining or snowing, or cool in here when we open the windows and it's baking hot outside. That's a technological response. And the technology is changing all the time. So the challenge is to turn it to our advantage.
建筑和这种社会之间这种关系，我觉得特别的重要，因为在这个时代里头，特别不一样的就是，因为建设和发展的这种速度太快了，这个导致这个，经常就是建筑师似乎有很大的权利，你一下子比如说把城市拆掉一大片，完了之后又重新造了一片，这个工作几乎是上帝做的，因为你把很多人的生活一夕之间就改变了，完了你重新给了他一个生活，这不是一般人可以做的工作，这是应该是上帝做的，但是现在都是建筑师在做，所以这个工作就会告诉建筑师，实际上你的社会的这个责任是极重的。